Brad Pitt left his beautiful wife Jennifer Aniston for his co-star Angelina Jolie. They began having kids right away, yet they married almost a decade later. Cinematic Royalty presents Hollywood movie star Storytime, where we will discuss the entire relationship and the short marriage of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Before we start, my stars, remember this is a multi-part series, so make sure to come back for the rest. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Most of us know that movie star Brad motherfucking Armpit was married when he met the cool girl Angelina Jolie. I've made a previous video about his first marriage to the sweet, beautiful Jennifer Aniston, so I won't be detailing all of that, just the important parts, as this video is specifically about Brad and Angie, but Jen is so intertwined to Brangelina's beginning, so apologies if I sound like a broken record. Brad was casted in Mr. and Mrs. Smith way back in 2002, and alongside Nicole Kidman casted as Jane. However, both actors didn't like the direction the movie was going, so when Nicole dipped the role, homeboy followed along. It wouldn't be until late 2003 they wanted to cast Oscar award-winning actress Angelina Jolie. Deadass, that was the sole reason. Brad became interested in returning to the film again, as he felt like Angie was the perfect A-lister to complement his portrayal. Brad and Jennifer were married by 2000, and bro was dripping in riz as one of the most handsome movie star of that era, while Jen was America's sweetheart who had been beloved ever since her role as Rachel Green in Friends. The press was very intrusive in the late 90s and early 2000s as they constantly asked Jen when she's going to have kids, but our homegirl wanted kids after Friends, so she can spend all her time raising her family. What the public wasn't aware of was privately Jen was struggling badly with infertility. She was trying any and every treatment to get pregnant, but none would work out. During this time, she didn't seem to be aware that her marriage is in danger, as Brad would begin filming with Angelina in January 2004, but before filming, Jen had actually met and spoken to Jolie once. It was in the parking lot of Warner Brothers Studios, and our baby girl Jen pulled over to introduce herself to Brad's future mistress. Jen told her, "Brad is so excited about working with you. I hope you guys have a really good time." Oh, my heart breaks for Jen, she truly is so kind and classy. But the interaction was reportedly polite and brief. Like y'all, I love Jen and Angelina, but this makes it so much worse, the foreshadowing was insane. As filming began, Brad and Angelina were very affectionate towards each other, and them messy bitches didn't even try to hide it. And y'all who say don't blame the woman for the married man's actions, so I'ma be clear. Both are to blame, but Angie does have a pattern of history in getting involved with taken men, then brags about it. Homegirl famously got with Billy Bob Thornton, who was engaged and living with Laura Dern. Dude didn't even have to balls to break up with Dern, dude legit just ghosted her. Then Jolie was explicitly bragging about her sex life with Billy Bob that made everyone uncomfortable. And this is probably unimportant, but Laura Dern is a huge nepo baby like Jolie. But Laura actually used to babysit Angelina when they were kids. Like damn, Angelina deadass isn't a girl's girl, but moving on. So Brangelina are being careless, but my girl Jen is a very trusting person that when there's rumors in the media that Brad's cheating with Jolie, Jen doesn't believe them at all because as a public figure she's aware that many fake stories are written and blasted in the press regardless it's true. So she trusted Brad's testimony deeply. As her series ends, Jen is trying to get pregnant, but aside from her infertility struggles, Brad is pretty busy filming, so she understands. However, he was thinking about fatherhood, but just not with his wife. As Brad continued his affair, he bonded closer to Jolie's adopted son Maddox, with him even calling him Papa. Aniston was trying everything to get pregnant. By the end of 2004, the rumors of infidelity are now common knowledge, but our baby girl Jen still believed. The little bitch Brad's assurances that he had nothing with Jolie. She thought their marriage was okay, especially when Brad planned a getaway vacation for just the two of them for Christmas 2004. But sadly, that vacation was planned as their final one since the bitch ass. Brad decided that was the place to confess his deep romantic feelings towards the woman he told her to not worry about. He added that he wanted Angelina and to start their family as now he had bonded deeply with Jolie's son Maddox. This was devastating to our girl Jen as she was blindsided. She truly believed their marriage was not only good, but would soon start creating their long-awaited family. This was fucking heartbreaking, but Jen is a total sweetheart and didn't make the process difficult for Brad as in the end of January 2005, they would announce their separation. They claimed it had nothing to do with the rumors in the media, but it's very obvious that Brad Armpit was leaving his wife for his younger co-star. Even after the shit Angelina and Brad put her through our angel, Jen never spoke bad about them, even when she said Brad had a sensitivity chip missing. And bitch, my girl could have dragged that buzzcut alcoholic fuckface, but she didn't. It was obvious to millions that Jennifer Aniston has always been classy while Brangelina has been trashy. When Angelina got with Brad, they became Brangelina. Jen wasn't bitter towards Brad nor Angelina, however. Jolie wanted to rub it in her face that she is that woman who can give Brad kids. The new couple were famously spotted vacationing together in Kenya on April 2005 and confirmed their relationship. This trip, which included baby Zahara, occurred shortly after Aniston filed for divorce. The area they went was secluded, yet tons of paparazzi were waiting for them. Many believe Jolie intentionally called the press to rub salt to the wound. And if that wasn't painful enough, it was followed by a staged domestic bliss photo shoot in W magazine. The multiple shots portrayed Brad and Angie as a committed, loving family with multiple children around. It was giving 1960s marital vibes, which was insensitive to Jen. Couple months after filing for divorce, Brad deadass got Angelina pregnant with their daughter Shiloh. It wouldn't be until October that Jennifer and Brad would be officially divorced. The couple kept the pregnancy private for several months, but by January 2006, when Jolie was roughly 5 months along, they announced their pregnancy. This fueled the narrative that Aniston selfishly didn't want kids, and in response, Brad had no choice but to leave her to immediately become a parent. This obviously was extremely false and devastating for my girl, Jen, considering her private journey of infertility. Mind you, Brad is still legally married when he got his mistress Jolie pregnant, like that motherfucker was quick to move on. Like babes, it's giving the taxi cab theory. Soon, Brangelina would continue their journey into parenthood, cementing them as the modern Hollywood power couple. Brad and Angelina's journey to parenthood. When the couple met in 2004, Angelina was already a mom to Maddox, who she adopted back in March 2002 in Cambodia. Before motherhood, she was a crazy bad girl, always looking for trouble, had a long history with extreme addictions. She was like the cool girl, but homegirl was insane for many things, especially for making out with her brother multiple times. Like that's honestly some nasty ass shit, it's giving redneck. In 2003, Jolie was still married to Billy Bob Thornton, so both submitted applications for adoption, however. Billy Bob wasn't that eager to become a dad again, as then he was a father of 3. Yet after his divorce from Angelina, he actually had a kid with someone else. Again, it's giving the taxi cab theory. Anyways, after Billy Bob dipped, Jolie went for a single parent adoption cause homegirl don't need that man. By the time Jolie met Brad in 2004, he immediately grew close to Maddox, which Angelina claimed helped her fall completely in love with him, as he separated from Jen. Brangelina doesn't waste any time in starting their family as Brad adopts. Maddox in 2006, the same year his biological daughter Shiloh was born. But before Shiloh came Zahara in 2005 when her parents adopted her from Ethiopia. Mind you, this is the same year his divorce was filed and bro already had 2 kids in less than a year. After Zahara and Shiloh were born, the couple decided to expand their family once again. In 2007, they adopted their son Pax Theon Jolie Pitt in Vietnam. The following year in 2008, the couple welcomed twins Vavion and Knox, completing their big family. Angelina was a Nepo baby as her father was Oscar award-winning actor Jon Voight. They had a complicated relationship as he has always been a conservative extremist who publicly insulted Angelina and her parenting style. Growing up, he wasn't that present in her life, but whenever cameras were around, he would bring them along. It always felt like Voight's paternal instincts weren't actually genuine, but instead performative. But it's the complete opposite with her mother Marceline. Her mom was a very present mother and didn't revolve her life around Hollywood terms like her cheating husband. Angelina would raise her kids in similar manners as her mom. Sadly, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1999 and luckily was still alive to see her grandbobbies Maddox, Zahara, and Shiloh. But sadly, in January 2007, she would pass away at the age of 56 after 8 years battling cancer. Her death was extremely devastating to Angie. Leading up to 2014, Jolie underwent preventive health procedures after learning about her genetic cancer risk, which was the same cancer that killed her mom. Testing revealed she had a high risk of developing the same cancers due to a faulty gene. She had an 87% for breast cancer, while 50% for ovarian. She decided to take preventative surgeries in hopes of lowering the cancer risk. Homegirl got double mastectomy as well as removing her ovaries and fallopian tubes, and now it's a 5% chance. Throughout those years, Pitt took on a more hands-on role at home while continuing his acting career, and both parents emphasized teamwork in raising their children. The long-awaited wedding of Brangelina. When Brad left his first wife Jennifer Aniston for his co-star Angelina Jolie, many thought they'd quickly marry, however they didn't until almost a decade later. When the couple publicly got together, they quickly began creating their family, which many thought would soon end in marriage. One of the reasons they claimed they aren't rushing to the altar was because they wanted to get married when legally everyone else can, since at the time, same-sex marriages wasn't the law of the land. Gay marriage were only legal in some states but not valid in others. But it wouldn't be until 2015 when the U.S. Supreme Court voted for the legalization of same-sex marriage in the case of Obergefell v. Hodges. However, they actually got married in 2014, a year before gay marriage was legalized. By that point, they had already been together for 9 years with 6 kids. They didn't have a huge A-list spectacle event, but instead a small close-knit family and friends at their French estate Chateau Miraval. Homegirl even let her kids draw on the white veil. Honestly, as a super princess girly girl, I would freak out if anyone used markers to draw on anything bridal, so she's better than me. Her gown was simple, but bitch, I love the veil. Even with its doodling, it's so unique. I loved it. Brad looks good too, not gonna lie, but I think his prime was when he was dating the pussy candle lady Gwyneth Paltrow. Anyways, the couple were finally married and, by the following years, would even star alongside each other in a film written and directed by Angelina. However, what many weren't aware of was that film would be one of the last-ditch effort to save the crumbling marriage. Divorce, babe, divorce. Before the marriage crumbled completely, Brangelina were very conflicted about their different type parenting styles. Brad was more into disciplined and confrontational in an authoritarian manner, while Angelina was more permissive and forgiving. This created a lot of tension, as Angelina didn't want to raise the kids similarly to her father. But aside from different parenting styles, Brad was having a hard time dealing with his alcoholism, which led to him becoming violent towards her and eventually later on to their kids. By 2015, they released their film By the Sea, which Jolie wrote, directed, and starred in alongside her hubby. At the time, she publicly acknowledged that the characters' conflicts have nothing to do with the reality of the couple's real-life marriage. But now looking back, it's clear it was more autobiographical than made up. On September 2016, after more than a decade together and 2 years of marriage, Angelina Jolie filed for divorce. But people were wondering what led to their demise? Well, Brad, the little bitch, became a raging alcoholic through the years and got physically abusive towards Angelina. But things would change when they're in a private plane, where Brad was crashing out drunk as fuck when he began violently beating his wife Angelina. The couple were in the bathroom, but their kids could hear all the commotion. Dude was escalating the violence, which made their kids fight against them in hopes of protecting their mother. This angered the drunk bitch, so that motherfucker began beating his kids. This incident was what made Jolie finally file for divorce after years of dealing with his abuse. She also wanted total custody of the kids, which is understandable. This divorce would get even more messier as the years went by. After filing, the couple has sued each other and have prolonged their messy divorce. It wouldn't be until 8 years later in 2024 that their divorce was finalized. Since then, Jolie has kept raising her kids in a caring, emotionally stability environment. As for Brad, his kids really do not like him. Most of his kids have legally changed their last names solely to Jolie once they turned 18. It's clear that they have still not forgave Brad for the trauma. Brad has stated he regrets his drinking, but now he's sober and ready to move on. However, the trauma he put his kids through doesn't make it as easy to move on from. Famously, on Father's Day 2023, their son Maddox heavily criticized his father on Instagram. Homeboy truly didn't give a fuck, even calling Brad a world-class asshole. It's a full circle moment, honestly, considering that Brad Pitt left his first wife Jennifer Aniston because she couldn't give him kids. Yet his actual kids don't want anything to do with him. And that's it for today's episode of Movie Star Storytime, the iconic Brangelina. Babes, if you're interested in diving into the life and scandals of other famous couples, then comment below. Thanks for watching.